What's up, gamers? Proto here, and welcome to another episode of Like or Dislike, where we look at some of the latest games coming out, give you a little bit of story behind, tell you our thoughts after playing the game for a little bit, while showing you gameplay all at the same time. And today we are looking at Earth Defense Force Iron Rain. Now, this is a game I had definitely been looking forward to. I've been a big fan of this series, been playing them as far back as I can remember. So let's not waste any time. Alright, this Earth Defense Force, or EDF for short, is a cult classic game in Japan. We used to get versions on this side of the world, but they never did good in sales, so they stopped releasing them around EDF 4. Now, we recently got EDF 5, which was a surprise, which I also did a review on, and you guys can take a look at the review if you take a look at this link right here. But this one does not take place after this one, because EDF 5 is actually like a retelling of the story all the way from the beginning. This one kind of takes place a little bit after EDF 4. Now, it takes place 7 years after you help defeat the aliens, but they left the giant insect monsters on the world, and they've been taking over ever since. You was in a coma when it happened, and you basically been sleeping for 7 years, and when you wake up, you find out that the EDF is struggling to protect people because resources are so limited. Now, the EDF harnesses power from crystals that the monsters leave behind to power their equipment and weapons now. And on top of that, you're dealing with a group that rebelled from the EDF. So you're fighting monsters, trying to protect civilians, dealing with a rebel group from the EDF. And while all that happens, the aliens decide to return back. So you're basically like fighting on almost 3 different fronts on this game. Now, this EDF version is designed more for the Western market. Their whole goal was to get attention for people on the US, Canada, and Mexico side to get it back into this game. And after playing this game for a few hours, you could definitely tell. Like I said, if you played the previous EDF games and you play this one, you can definitely tell on that. Some of the big changes you can tell is you have a depth of customizing your character with uniforms, hairstyles, faces, and more. In the previous versions, all you really had for customization was different colors that your person can wear on their armors. You really couldn't change their faces or nothing. You could change from male to female sometimes, but that was about it. Now, the classes in this one, because in all previous ones you have 4 different classes, this time they're called PAs because they use a gear that augments them, that gives them superhuman strength more or less. But in this one, instead of having the 4 traditional classes like they always do, they came up with a new class, and this new class is not bad. It's a more mobile class where it lets you use hooks and jump jets to get around, especially like if you're in a city setting, you can really just fly around like Spider-Man, getting around back and forth. And along with this new class, you can actually control certain monsters to help fight back the other ones. So it's definitely a change. And I played around with it for a few hours, and I really enjoyed it, especially using the swords they have in this one now. It really comes in play. You can just hook onto an enemy in the air, catch them, hit them with your sword, and hook onto another one. It definitely gives you a breath of fresh air. Like I said, if you played the previous games, new ways to fight the enemies. Now, instead of you running around collecting weapon boxes like you did in the previous versions, you automatically get new weapons every time you complete a mission. So you don't ever have to worry about picking up the same weapon over and over. And that happened a lot of times when you play the previous EDF. You get the same weapon almost 3 or 4 times. But I definitely like that change. Another one is you have more variety of giant insect monsters and other enemies to fight. Usually I want to say once you get past like the 5th or 6th mission in the games, in the previous ones, you pretty much seen majority of them. They might like stick an extra one in there later on as the story progresses, but otherwise those are the main enemies you fight. Since I've been playing this game, I've came across different species of the same monster, and they all have their own attributes. Like certain ones are immune to certain weapons, certain ones have stronger attacks, so you have to play that in with the weapons you're using. And that makes it a little bit, to me that makes it a whole lot better, because you're not just fighting the same ones over and over. You're like, okay, I'm fighting one that's resistant to lasers, so I can't use laser weapons. I'm fighting one that's resistant to fire, so I can't use any type of incendiary grenades on them. So it definitely makes it different. One thing I'm happy to say they added in this one, you can sprint finally. If you played the previous ones, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You can actually like sprint now and move much faster, so you can collect crystals and other resources and ammunition and everything else in this game. And like I said, with the new monsters, it makes it more challenging. Along with that, you have a more detailed loadout that you can use. In the previous one, you had like one equipment that you could attach and you can use, and usually in order for you to even use the vehicles, you had to have a certain class of calling vehicles. This time around, with your loadout, you can put anything on it as long as you don't go past your loadout's limits. So you can load out vehicles, extra grenades, whatever you want to use, as long as you don't go past that loadout. Now, there's a catch to using all that stuff, and I'll explain it in a couple of seconds. Now, you use the crystals you collect in each mission to unlock new weapons, vehicles, and equipment that you can put on your loadout. They all have their own pros and cons, so it really falls on your playstyle of what you want to use. Each time you use equipment in the missions, it deducts from your in-mission credits. So that's another level of depth of management you gotta worry about. And that's what it leads into. You got all these weapons and equipment you can use, but each one you use is going to take away from your final in-game credits. So if you're trying to be stingy and not use any of them so you can get full game credits, work on your weapon and your playstyles. But if you don't mind spending some credits to call in a vehicle, because there will be times when you want to use equipment, don't be afraid to use them. Now, the core of this game with all these changes is still the same. It's still mindless destruction, fighting hordes of monsters on your screen, and unique crazy weapons. And I really enjoyed that. Like, the fact that you got all these creatures coming on your screen and there's no lag, no frame rate drop. It's very, very smooth. This game is much more detailed and is very nice if you compare it to just EDF 5 and EDF 4. And all this gameplay that you guys are seeing is being captured on a PS4 Pro. Now, like I told you guys before, they were really trying to gear this game towards Western players. And Western players care about graphics and detail. And it definitely shows. The fact that you can see the hairs on the monsters, you can see little tiny monsters on certain monsters, and I don't want to tell you which one. That really plays into it. Like, they really took time for detail. And the fact that you got detail on your character, and depending on what kind of equipment you have on, you can see that detail. You can see on your character in the game also. So with all that being said, let's jump into the pros versus the cons. And starting off with the pros, the combat of this game is still fun. It's still something you'll love. If you played the previous EDFs, you still have that core fun of it. Mindless destruction, destroying buildings, hitting enemies with every type of unique weapon you think of. At the core, that is still part there and it's still fun. The next pro we gotta look at is the customization detail. That there I definitely really enjoy. And I came to really like, every time I got something new, I was switching it out, changing my character's look, changing his hair color, changing everything on him, and I really like that. And then there's certain things that you can get that you have to grind for to get, so it gives you a lot of time to really invest into the game to get certain things. And the last pro we're gonna look at is a new class. I was kind of hesitant of it when I saw trailers of it, but actually getting my hands on it, it is really fun. If you like being able to move fast, if you like melee type combat, if you like just being mobile, being able to move quick and avoid danger, you will definitely like this class. I still prefer the older classes, don't get me wrong, but this one is like a breath of fresh air. Especially, like I said, I played nearly all the EDF games, so it's definitely good to see a new class being brought in. Hopefully they keep it in future games. Now with the pros being done, let's jump to the cons. And the first con we're gonna look at, NPCs. Even though they took a lot of good time to make the NPCs unique, give them unique personalities and everything, the NPC talk in the game, when they're talking in the missions, it can get annoying after a certain time. They're repeating the same phrases, repeating the same lines over and over. It can get a little annoying. So I've been used to tuning that out. But if you're not to, get used to it. Next con we're gonna look at, the missions are repetitive. This is not one of those games where they have like really unique missions. Most of the missions are around the same. Destroy all the enemies, protect a certain ally or a certain structure, rescue people. That's about it. But if you play in this game, you're not playing it for unique missions that stand out there different. You're playing it for other reasons. So, but keep that in mind if you're worried about being bored. And the last con we have to look at And just like the previous EDF game, this is a download only. So I totally understand if you don't have the internet, or if it takes forever for you to download games where you are. Just keep that in mind, that this game is a download only. I tried to find a physical copy, but I wasn't able to, so I had to download it straight from my PS4 Pro. And that's pretty much the pros and cons. Overall, I definitely have to give the game a like. With all the changes they did in this game, like I said, it's a breath of fresh air. Nice to see new things going on, nice to see new classes, a new depth of customization. I hope they keep all that in future EDF games, and I hope this one gets more people's attention. So if you know somebody that might be interested in this game or like these style games, share this video to them, let them see the gameplay, because this is a game that I've been playing for years and I love it, regardless how long it is, regardless how repetitive it is. It's just one of those good games you can just turn your mind off and just have fun. So those are just my thoughts on it. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Are you thinking about getting the game? Have you got it? What's something that you like about the game? What's something you don't like about the game after playing it? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you haven't already subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We talk about stuff going on in the gaming and tech world, the reviews on some of the latest games and tech that's out, do top 10 and new games coming out every month, and so much more. Make sure to follow us on our social media pages so you can keep up to date with what's going on with us, or if you want to reach out to InfamouslyTy and me. We love talking about gaming, so don't be afraid to hit us up. Catch us streaming on Twitch and Mixer. You can catch InfamouslyTy on Mixer and me on Twitch. But this is Proto, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.